Hey, welcome everybody to the Miami Dolphins live NFL fan talk. Sorry for the late start. There were a couple of technical issues since this laptop's power adapter is sort of on the fritz, but I'm here. So I'm here. Hello. We got some actual news to talk about this time. In addition to all the rosters being made, there has been a very important development. The Dolphins have signed veteran cornerback Rasul Douglas to a 1-year, $3 million contract. So we finally have an answer. We finally have an answer about which veteran corner the Dolphins are going to sign. And it's Rasul Douglas. So apparently, according to Colin, the Dolphins hosted a workout for Eddie Pinheiro. Yeah, there's already the couple of Dolphins fans on Twitter saying that this Rasul Douglas signing is Jordan Poyer 2.0. But honestly, with how the Dolphins' corner back room is, like, Rasul Douglas would have to be completely cooked to not be able to crack a roster spot. So, according to Colin, the Dolphins hosted a workout for Eddie Pinheiro, which is one of the free agent kicker options. So there's also that rookie backup kicker that's I presume got cut. I presume that what's his name? Ben Saul's guy, the backup kicker from Pittsburgh who was perfect in the preseason. And of course, 53-man roster cut day. You can find out where the NFL's priorities lie, because Adam Schefter broke the news that Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift are engaged. Oh, it's going to be insufferable, isn't it? Every single Chiefs game, the broadcasters are going to talk 20 times in every quarter about Swift and Kelce being engaged. Of course, this is an Adam show, so take it as you will. So, The Dolphins could possibly sign a kicker today or tomorrow. There are 4 options for them. Yeah, there's Eddie Pinheiro, Ben Sauls. So Ben Sauls was cut by the Steelers. So if the Dolphins wanted to go with a young guy at kicker for the first few weeks of the season. Collins says signing Kobe Bryant's cornerback from Kansas would be a good addition to help strengthen the cornerback room because he got cut from the Falcons and he plays corner. Yeah, I don't think Justin Tucker's getting an NFL job anytime soon. I wouldn't even want Justin Tucker. The dude was flat out cooked last year. So apparently the more recent waivings, the Dolphins are waiving Derek McLendon. I guess I should go over the list of cuts and waivings. So here's what we've got so far. These are the roster cuts. Again, there's still about 42 minutes to go until the deadline. Running back Aaron Shamplin, cornerback Mike Hilton, offensive tackle Jalen McKenzie, running back Mike Boone, offensive lineman Jackson Carman, defensive tackle Ben Still, offensive lineman Mason Brooks, cornerback Ethan Robinson, offensive lineman Addison West, wide receiver A.J. Henning, cornerback Cam Dantzler, tight end Farrell Brown, edge defender Quentin Bell, defensive lineman Matt Dickerson, edge defender Derek McLendon, wide receiver Theo Weiss Jr. So he got cut, huh? Safety Patrick McMorris, wide receiver Eric Ezukanma, wide receiver Andrew Armstrong, safeties John Saunders Jr., edge defender Grayson Murphy, cornerback BJ Adams, linebacker Eugene Asante, injury settlement, offensive tackle Ryan Hayes, offensive lineman Josh Preeb, defensive tackle Alex Huntley, cornerback Cornell Armstrong, and edge defender Mohamed Kamara. And of course, we signed Rasul Douglas, so we finally have anything resembling a quality veteran experience in the corner room. And they're expected to place interior O lineman Andrew Meyer on injured reserve with a return designation. Tight end one, I believe, is Darren Waller. That's why they traded for him. Could the Dolphins sign another corner? I'm not sure. Maybe after week 1 when contracts are no longer guaranteed for the entire season. So apparently the Saints have decided to go with Spencer Rattler as their starting quarterback. And he apparently won the competition with rookie Tyler Show and Jake Hader in the preseason. Mr. Krabs says, no way Julian Hill was a better blocker than Pharaoh Brown. Well, apparently he was. Like, Pharaoh Brown must have been so god awful in the preseason that Julian Hill, of all people, was able to keep his blocking tight end job. Wasn't it a similar situation with we signed Ryan Stonehouse specifically to compete for the punting job because Jake Bailey isn't exactly the best punter in the league, but Jake Bailey ended up winning the punting competition? Pacharo says, Kyle Channing Crowder came to my job today and told me that we got Douglas. That's awesome. Yeah, so I guess it's time to talk about Rasul Douglas now that we actually know he's the Dolphins player. So Omar Kelly quoted Dolphins defensive tackle Zach Sealer, who said, oh no, wait, this is a quote of Matthew Judon. Let me go to Rasul Douglas. So he'll be turning 30 in a few days. In his career, he's had 19 interceptions. So you have to look at his most recent couple of years. In the 2023 campaign, where he played for both Green Bay and Buffalo, he had 5 total interceptions, including a pick 6. And he also combined in those 2 years for about 61 tackles combined. In 2024, 2024, apparently Rasul Douglas was not good. He played 15 games, had no interceptions, only 1 forced fumble, 5 passes defended. So, but he did also have, he had 58 combined tackles in 2024. So I'm guessing that Rasul Douglas is, he's turning 30. He's a veteran. He's essentially there so that while I believe Storm Duck might still be cornerback 1 for the Dolphins, now it won't all fall back on Jack Jones for the other cornerback position. Collins says, still Storm Duck season. Yeah. Mr. Krabs says, again, you mean to tell me Jake Bailey was a better punter than Ryan Stonehouse? Apparently, if you go by the roster transactions. Mr. Krabs says, are we still as interested in Asante Samuel Jr.? I don't know. I think signing Rasul Douglas, although his contract is pretty cheap, 1 year, $3 million. I don't know if the Dolphins are going to be signing yet another corner, of Asante Samuel. From what I understand, he's young, but he also is coming off a major injury. Pacharo says there's an update that Asante Samuel now has to wait until October to be signed. Well, there you go, Mr. Krabs. Apparently, Asante Samuel Jr. will not be able to sign until October. The Browns also are releasing veteran rider Deontay Johnson. So, yet again, another former Steelers player absolutely crashes out once they leave the Steelers organization. What a shock. Like, how in the hell does Tomlin manage to wrestle all those in the locker room? How the hell does Tomlin do it to the point where they can have a winning season, let alone us? So Asante Samuel, according to JPA on Twitter, he plans to go a CT scan in October to make sure that he's had successful spinal fusion. He's been in touch with, quote, several teams throughout the offseason. So, now about that Kobe Bryant's waiving. They're hoping to bring him back on the practice squad, the Falcons are, if he clears waivers. Which makes it doesn't help that Asante's dad went out and called the Dolphins a little league team. David says, at best, I see the Finns going 11-6 this year. Pretty mellow schedule if Jets and the Patriots still sucks. I think I had them going 10-7. David says, figure we lose to Bills probably twice, Ravens and Redskins, whatever the name is. Also Bengals. But other than that, the rest of the games are winnable. New Orleans, Pittsburgh, Atlanta, and Indianapolis all beatable. Yeah, definitely agree with you, especially New Orleans and Indianapolis. I cannot conceive of easier games in that schedule than New Orleans and Indianapolis. I mean, honestly, that whole NFC South, since we are playing the entire NFC South this year, the only team that should be capable of resoundingly beating the Dolphins in that entire division is the Buccaneers. Like, I would not be terribly disappointed if we can beat the Buccaneers because they are competent. I'd like to beat the Buccaneers as along with the rest of that division, but I'm not going to count on it. Mr. Krabs says we have to go to Pittsburgh and New England in cold climates. We suck in that weather. Well, then it would be the very first test, the test to see if all the Dolphins' talk of culture change and the moves to get tougher actually pay off. Colin says Carolina is a trap game. Well, yeah, with Bryce Young involved, almost any game against that Carolina is playing, it could be a trap game. Like Carolina is one of my favorite picks to be a surprise contender, or at least much better than they were at the start of last year. Spaceman, I've heard a couple of things about today being National Dog Day. It's adorable. National Dog Day. Woof. David says maybe the Buccaneers, but Tampa is a weird team. We could catch them on a bad week. So, Spaceman says it would be nice to have a fluffy Ellie and Sonia tribute post. Yeah, we'll have I'm sure my dad can figure something out for that. I'm sure my dad can. He would probably really enjoy. He would probably really enjoy that, to have a little tribute posted up. Colin says, I do agree with the Carolina Panthers being a true surprise this year. David says, every day is National Dog Day at my house and job. Yeah, and a couple pictures of Leia. That'd be cute. Mr. Krabs says, week 18 versus New England. We win and we're in, but lose is the most Dolphins thing ever. I would like if the season did not have to come down to week 18 in the cold against New England. David says, we will have to score a lot. Our secondary is going to make a lot of average quarterbacks look like Unitas. Just saying. Well, the hope is that our defensive line and pass rushers will obliterate the quarterbacks before they even have the chance to throw the ball. So the deadline gets closer and closer. I will continue to keep an eye. The Dolphins waived Theo Weiss Jr. and Eric Ezukanma. Maybe they both get on the practice squad. So the Buccaneers apparently plan to release quarterback Kyle Trask. He will revert to IR with a shoulder issue, then work out a settlement or release soon and look for a new team. So right now, with all the quarterbacks being cuts, there are only 3 quarterbacks in the Browns quarterback room: Joe Flacco, Dylan Gabriel, and Shedeur Sanders. David says, "Gotta run. Great to see you, Kyle, looking kind of forward to the season." Hey, thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us, David. I'll see you next time, buddy. David says, "Yeah, that's the hope, but a lot of very mobile quarterbacks out there." Well, Dolphins management is a lot of things. I can't imagine that Dolphins management would be so moronic as to overlook the very division they play in. Like in the AFC East, the Dolphins have to contend against Josh Allen, who I believe isn't Josh Allen the quarterback who has scored the most rushing touchdowns besides Lamar Jackson of any quarterback in the league. And then you have the other 2 quarterbacks. You have Justin Fields with the Jets, who has shown plenty of mobility in the past. And of course, you have Drake May with the Patriots, who I think the Patriots hype train is already trying to make him into the next franchise quarterback. Billy Hayden says, "Congrats to Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift on announcing their engagement today." Oh, that's all the broadcasters are going to talk about during Chiefs games. Thanks. I hate it. Like, it was, fairly predictable that at some point Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift would get hitched. More power to them, because, if Travis and Taylor really are a couple truly in love and whatnot, at some point even they must get sick of all the publicity that this sort of thing brings. All the people who would love to indulge in the conspiracy theory that they're only getting hitched so that the NFL can continue to attract all the Swifties. So many Swifties. She has a new album coming out. I've never been a Taylor Swift fan. I've never been a fan of Taylor Swift's music by any means. So Joe Shad says on Twitter said, once our Dolphins practice viewing window ends, we'll post who wasn't seen out there. By rule, we have to wait until the window ends. Obviously, a lot of cuts today. So I'd love to hear your guys' opinions. The Dolphins signed a veteran corner. They got Rasul Douglas. So, Bills fans might be able to point and laugh because the Dolphins are trying to take their former players again, and Jordan Poyer did not exactly work out for the Dolphins, but I know at one point Rasul Douglas was considered to be a very good player for one. So apparently the Ravens are releasing cornerback Jalen Armour Davis, 6'1" with 4.3 speed. And of course, there's already a Dolphins fan, or at least a there where the Anthony Weaver knows this guy from Baltimore. But I guess the first question I should ask is, why is he being cut? And of course, the immediate answer that I found is Jalen Armour Davis is, shocker, injury prone. Mr. Krabs says, congrats to Travis and Taylor getting engaged, but Twitter showing it on my feed. Rasul Douglas didn't play for Buffalo as long as Jordan Poyer, so yeah, I can go over to ESPN and take a look at what they have to say. So on the dead. So right now, Storm Duck and Jack Jones have operated as the starting corners over the past couple weeks. So signing Rasul Douglas might once again shake that up. I assume that Storm Duck has earned one of the starting corner jobs. Now it just remains to be seen if Rasul Douglas is merely depth, or if the plan is to bring him up to speed and have him be a starting corner instead of Jack Jones. So Rasul Douglas has started 42 games over the past 3 seasons and is now the team's most experienced cornerback. He's played for 4 teams during his 8-year career, spending the past season and a half with the Bills. The Bills acquired Douglas at the trade deadline in 2023, and he proceeded to quickly become a starter for the team at outside corner. He played 3 seasons with the Eagles, including earning a Super Bowl title in Super Bowl 52. He then landed with the Panthers for 1 season in 2020 before finding success with the Packers from 2021 until he was traded to the Bills, recording 10 interceptions, including 2 pick sixes in 36 regular season games. Douglas had 4 interceptions, 8 passes defended, and 2 fumble recoveries in 9 games with the Bills in 2023, but these flashy numbers went down in his second year with 0 interceptions, 5 passes defended, and 1 forced fumble. So yeah, we're hoping that he'll rebound from those disappointing numbers. So Achane apparently wasn't at practice today. He's probably still resting up. Hopefully he didn't tear an adductor or something. Like, apparently Mike McDaniel has a reputation for understating the severity of injuries. The Seahawks released running back Damian Martinez. Hello, Cap for Life. How you doing? Bring running back Damian Martinez home now. He is a beast. Crazy Dolphins is always glad to see you. Yeah, we have 15 more minutes of the current wave of cuts around the league. Collins says Martinez will probably get picked up by a different team. The Dolphins waived Grayson Murphy. Yeah, and they also waived Derek McLendon. Oh, we have someone. Janet Carson from Twitch says, "What's up? How you doing? Just followed." Hey, glad to have you here. You a Dolphins fan? Crazy Dolphin says, "Good evening, Kyle. Please keep up your good work." Hey, thank you. So, Douglas had 5 interceptions for 4 consecutive seasons before he was shut out in that department in 2024 when his passer rating when targeted was an unsightly 122.0. Dolphins have to hope last year was an outlier and not the start of a slide. Oh, with the Dolphins lucky, he would be doing even worse. Like, what's your opinion? Do you think Rasul Douglas will become Jordan Poyer 2.0 or will he rebound? Like, the bar for good corner performance is set so low right now in Miami It can't be hard for Rasul Douglas to take charge, right? So Grayson Murphy got released. Grayson Murphy apparently struggled to hold containment on the run sweep play in preseason. He lacked he lacked the strength to prevent his man from pushing him inside, allowing the running back to easily get to the edge for a huge gain. So it means Grayson Murphy and McLendon might be going on the practice squad. Also, the Giants released Tommy DeVito. Would you look at that? The Dolphins waived Mohamed Kamara. Yeah, he got injured, right? So exactly how many linebackers on the roster now? So what's the defensive edge room look like right now with all those cuts? Let's see. Yeah, the injury bug needs to stop. Um, no, Janet, we are definitely not live on TikTok right now. Can't can't say my that we've ever really considered using TikTok. Mm. So yeah, there's only several more minutes left. There's only a few minutes left until the are all done. So apparently Darren Waller is not practicing. So we did not spot these players. Joe Shad says we did not spot these players working at Miami Dolphins practice today. Not spotted. Tyreek Hill, Devon Achan, Jalen Wright, Liam Eichenberg, Austin Jackson, Darren Waller, Hayden Rucci, Mo Kamara, Ethan Bonner, Kendall Sheffield, and Cam Smith. Is Darren Waller just not going to practice? Um, Well, Janet, this the Flying Fluffy Football stream, the Flying Fluffy Football stream is being streamed simultaneously to Facebook, YouTube, and the site formerly known as Twitter, in addition to Twitch. Mr. Krabs says the medical team needs to be fired if we have so many injuries. So the San Francisco 49ers have apparently released Ronnie Wilson Jr. The Dolphins have worked out the following kickers today per Barry Jackson: Riley Patterson, Greg Joseph, Zane Gonzalez, and Eddie Pinheiro. And according to Barry Jackson, they told Riley Patterson he's likely the guy. So that seems to be the front runner for the kicker job is Riley Patterson. Reports are were pleased with Patterson's workout. Do, 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 do. Well, to answer your question, Janet, don't stream every day. I've been doing essentially Monday through Friday streams in preparation for the start of the football season. And then my dad and I will be streaming every Dolphins game in addition to some other Dolphins games. I mean, other football games such as any Thursday night, Sunday night, or Monday night games that are worth our time. So, only one more minute left. Dolphins have released John Saunders Jr. Let's see. The Dolphins quarterbacks at the moment are Rasul Douglas, Storm Duck, Jason Marshall, and Jack Jones, awaiting clarity on Isaiah Johnson, who is today. Kendall Sheffield injured, Cam Smith is missing today, and Ethan Bonner is injured. We have clarity, according to Barry, quote, we have clarity at every other position. So the deadline has come and gone. Yeah, this was supposed to be Kader Kohu's season, but he's out. So the deadline has come and gone for all the roster cuts. So we are about to find out exactly who got cut. So the Dolphins released Mo Camara just a year after drafting him in the 5th round. Miami, for now, appears to be keeping 5 outside linebackers: Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb, Chop Robinson, Matthew Judon, and Cameron Good. Let's see. Jordan Colbert appears to have beaten out Saunders and Patrick McMorris for backup safety job. All right. So yeah, now the Dolphins should be at the 53-man roster. We should be at the 53-man roster now, so now it just waits to be seen who else got cut or who else gets signed. So is there going to be a list? Is there going to be a list? All the players that got cut. The Dolphins could potentially sign another corner. Well, yeah. Now we just have to wait and see because all of the teams in the NFL have made their cuts now, including many, many corner options. So it just remains to be seen if the Dolphins will actually sign anyone else. Okay, so I see this guy on Twitter, Armando Salguero, who is posting all of the initial 53 man rosters for NFL teams. So I'm just waiting for him to post the Dolphins one. Bears. So now we're just waiting for the 53 man roster, the official 53 man roster to show up. Again, the following kickers were worked out today: Riley Patterson, Greg Joseph, Zane Gonzalez, and Eddie Pinheiro. And apparently, Riley Patterson impressed the most. Apparently, the Lions released Nick Whiteside, cornerback. The The Giants cut tight end Greg Dulcich. Mr. Krabs says, "This has been quiet. I was expecting to hear some huge roster cuts." Well, there has been quite a few cuts. Most surprisingly, that Grayson Murphy was cut along with Mohamed Kamara and Derek McLendon, which means the outside linebacker room is literally just Cameron Goods and all of the elite players: Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb, Chop Robinson, and of course Matthew Judon, who we just signed recently. Like when the Buccaneers released Shiloh Sanders for punching an opposing player. Yeah, well, that was a consequence of Shiloh Sanders being an idiot. You don't punch an opposing player. Well, the legend of Tommy DeVito in New York has come to an end because of him being cut. So I'm just waiting right now for the Dolphins roster. Omar says, we saw Dolphins tight ends Darren Waller at practice, but he wasn't participating. It's now obvious that he's nursing some kind of injury. Of course, this is an Omar Kelly post, so take that with a grain of salt. There was a report that he wasn't even this so. Yeah, Tommy Gutlitz got cut, and Kenny Pickett's got traded to the Raiders, where he will be back up behind Geno Smith. So yeah, at the moment I'm just waiting for the Miami Dolphins 50th roster to show up on this. The time has arrived. With all NFL teams must have only 53 players on their roster. One of the biggest surprises of the past 2 weeks has been Jason Marshall Jr., who went from third string corner to starting nickel in the span of 10 days. So the Dolphins' current wide receiver room: Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Malik Washington, Nick Westbrook-Ikini, D. Eskridge, and Taj Washington. So the Dolphins had about 10 cuts or moves to go but to get to the end limit, according to Chris at Fins.com. So we're still waiting to see what those were. Najee Harris has been activated by the Chargers, so he could play in week 1. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if the former Steelers running back can add an extra wrinkle to Jim Harbaugh's offense. So yeah, we're still waiting. I will stay here live until the Dolphins 53-man roster has been released. Omar Kelly was quoted as saying, Alec Ingold talked about Ollie Gordon having old habits he has to break, referring to Miami's need for backs to stick to the script instead of relying on instincts. Well, I don't know about what McDaniel thinks, but I think Ollie Gordon's instincts are pretty sharp. Please, for the love of God, McDaniel, do not stifle your rookie running back two in an overly complicated and ineffective sweep and pitch scheme. Let that dude run down the field. Ollie is really good at running down the field and bowling over opposing defenders. Kendall Lamb, former Dolphins offensive tackle, was released by the Eagles. So, PFL with their list of the highest graded first round rookies in the preseason. First round rookies, 5 preseason, minimum 25 snaps. Number 1 is Tyler Warren with an 86.8. That's the tight end for the Colts. Number 2 is Will Campbell, offensive tackle, Patriots, 86.3. Number 3 is Gray Zabel, offensive guard, Seahawks, 86.2. Number 4, Jackson Dart, quarterback, Giants, with an 84.7. And number 5, Kenneth Grants, Dolphins, 81.8. Cam Smith was not at practice today. Lima says, nah, he's just going to have him catch 20 screens after HN gets burnt out. Oh, God, please, no. It's too accurate. Make it stop. McDaniel, do not bother Ollie Gordon running style. Cam Smith was not at practice today, so it is possible he was cut. We're not going to find out until they actually release the 53-man roster. Do I see a lot of signings and trades tomorrow? Well, across the league, sure. With all these cuts happening around the league and all the players being waived, it works like the NHL where it's the waiver wire and other teams can claim that player before they get cleared. So the Texans are releasing veteran offensive lineman Trent Brown. The Commanders have been gauging multiple interests in cornerback Noah Igbenogany. Interesting. We are still waiting for that official Dolphins 53-man roster. Honestly, how long does it take? The Colts tight end Jelani Woods, former third-round pick, has intriguing skill set as a 6'7" wide tight end with 4.6 speed, but he had trouble staying healthy in Indy. Anytime now. Where is the 32-man? Where's the 53-man roster for the Dolphins? The Rams cut running back Cam Akers. Well, that's been news for a while now. It is rather odd, I must say, that it's taking this long for the roster to drop. Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski named Dylan Gabriel as Cleveland's number 2 quarterback. Oh, I'm sure the Shedeur Sanders fans are going to be completely rational and level-headed about that decision. Surely they will not accuse Stefanski of attempting to bury Shedeur behind his fellow rookie quarterback teammate. Oh. Dolphins backup offensive linemen at this time are Brunskill, the backup center, Larry Borum, the number 3, and backup left tackle and guard Keon Smith. Colin says, I mean, Sanders is good, but still has a lot of his bad habits. Well, the Shedeur Sanders discourse has become slightly unhinged recently after basically 2 different competing conspiracy theories. One about Stefanski purposefully having offensive linemen play terrible whenever Shedeur was in the pocket so that he would look bad. And the other about 4 different offensive linemen being cut from the roster after that game where Shador Sanders was played because supposedly they want to make Shador look better. Colin says Gabriel is more of a safer option than Sanders. Yeah, I definitely agree there. Man, Kendall Lamb was cut by the Eagles. Um, no, crazy dolphin. Josh Preeb got cut. Josh Preeb got cut. Real Cinema says Browns getting what they deserve after the Deshaun Watson thing. Colin says it's funny how Sanders has become the new Tim Tebow in the NFL, with how many fans of Sanders there are and the national media coverage around him. Yeah. So again, there is still absolutely there. I have not found anyone who has actually posted the official 53-man roster for the Dolphins. Like the 53-man roster deadline was half an hour ago, for crying out loud. How does no one have the list? Real Cinema says differences. Tebow was actually great in college. Did Tebow have a famous former football dad who entire media circus? Oder has via his Instagram. You too busy worrying about time, my boy. Be patient. Colts veteran Mike Hilton on Wednesday, and there's a mutual interest in doing a deal. Hilton played for Lou Anarumo during his tenure with the Bengals and has amassed 13 career interceptions. Colin says Tebow had famous teammates and coaches. The media circus started all on its own. Well, wasn't there that whole debacle about Shador potentially refusing to play for certain teams if he got drafted by them or something? That his dad would not allow him to play for certain teams or something like that. I'm a simple man. I just want the Dolphins' 53-man roster to appear. Colin says, yeah, that was true about Sanders. Yeah, Eli Manning, yeah. Eli Manning famously refused to play for the Chargers. Please, someone give me an actual 53-man roster for the Dolphins. Why is this so difficult? Again, the Dolphins ended up releasing Derek McLendon, Grayson Murphy, Mohamed Kamara, and Quentin Bell, which means only Cam Goods remains behind Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb, Chop Robinson, and Matthew Judon. All right, so Armando Salguero on Twitter is back to slowly seen That's funny. The 49ers released both Robbie Chosen and Jeff Wilson Jr. The Colts are working on signing Mike Hilton. Well, more power to him because the Colts, this is a Colts defense that got torched by Drew Lock in a must-win game last year. Crazy Dolphins says, Kyle, I've been checking the internet. No info yet on the roster. Of course there isn't. Why would the Dolphins roster show up at a convenient time for me? I will have been streaming for 90 minutes in like 3 minutes. And that's usually the time where I will sign off and end the stream. Now I'm stuck here waiting for this Verschlungener 53-man roster to show. The 49ers placed Brandon Ayuk and Malik Mustafa on the physically unable to perform list. Let's see what else. What else is left? Any time now that 53-man roster could show up. All right, so now, yeah, the Dolphins cut Cornell Armstrong, yeah, one of our other corners. All right, so I've hit. It is 20-5. It is 20-5. So what do you say? Should I keep going until 5 o'clock? And if the roster still hasn't shown up by then, I sign off. That's about my limit. Because then I'm pushing towards a 2-hour stream. I was hoping this Armando Salguero guy would have more consistent updates. He has posted the moves and or rosters for the Jaguars, Cowboys, Commanders, Bears, Bengals, Lions, Eagles, 49ers, and now the Browns. And he literally just posted the Steelers roster. So I'm hoping he will to break the Dolphins roster. Bobby Schuss says, quote, I'm told Jordan Colbert has made the initial 53-man roster. Let's go. Patriots waived former first-round pick Cole Strange, who started 29 games on the offensive line during his 3 seasons in New England. So now it seems like the flow of 53-man rosters is it's slowly it's slowly getting faster. The Steelers and Patriots 53-man rosters just came out. So of all those veteran kicker options, the guys who were worked out today, who would you want to be signed as the Dolphins kicker? All right, so keep on waiting on the roster to show up. Like seriously. Barry Jackson. The Dolphins cut Alex Huntley, the rookie defensive lineman, per source. Apparently, the Carolina Panthers released Hunter Renfrow. Real Cinnamon says Riley Patterson was the kicker for the Jaguars when they beat the Chargers in the playoffs 3 years ago, and then he was on the Lions. I'd be okay with him. Yeah, Riley Patterson was actually the man who was apparently most likely to get the job after the workouts today. Let's see. So how many rosters has this guy put up? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12. So Armando Salguero has posted the rosters for 12 teams, which means the odds of the next team he posts being the Dolphins roster gets better and better with every additional roster that he shows. I just wish it would have happened sooner. Oh, the verdict on what were a few unresolved Dolphins issues, according to Barry Jackson. The Dolphins cut Tyndall and Rookie and Matos. Damn, so that Byron Matos guy got cut. So Thomas Morstead apparently also got cut by the 49ers. Here we go. We have the full list of moves. Finally. So now we finally have a list of the roster moves. It would be convenient if there were a roster diagram. So here we are. So the Dolphins announced today. So these are the releases. So these are the guys that got flat out cuts. They have released Cornell Armstrong, Quentin Bell, Mike Boone, Pharaoh Brown, Jackson Carman, cornerback Cameron Dantzler Sr., Matt Dickerson, Mike Hilton, Chris Myrick, and Kendall Sheffield. And these are the following waived and or injured. Waived / injured. So these are guys that could potentially return to the practice squad if they clear waivers. They waived B.J. Adams, Andrew Armstrong, Mason Brooks, Braden Daniels, Eric Ezukanma, Ryan Hayes, A.J. Henning, Alex Huntley, DeQuan Jackson, Mohamed Kamara, Jalen McKenzie, Derek McGlendon, Patrick McMorris, Grayson Murphy, Josh Preeb, Ethan Robinson, Hayden Rucci, John Saunders Jr., Aaron Shamplin, Ben Still, Channing Tindall, Theo Weiss Jr. and Addison West, waived injured tackle by Byron Matos, and waived injury settlement Eugene Asante. They moved Liam Eichenberg to the reserve, physically unable to perform list, and placed offensive lineman Andrew Meyer and kicker Jason Sanders on the injured reserve list. The team listed Meyer and Sanders as designated for return. Are you kidding me? When did my browser lose connection to the camera? Oh, that's the web camera. Well, shoot. Give me a second. Now, why on earth has the web camera just completely lost connection? Eni Bishop got cut by the Steelers. Dolphins could go for a young corner like him. Let's try this again. All right, here we are. I'm back. Channing Tindall just got cut. So yeah, those are the roster moves. So that's yet another linebacker that got cut. All right, so let me present the screen here. Mm-hmm. All right, so there it is. There are your cuts and your waves. Liam Eichenberg is on physically unable to perform. Andrew Meyer and Jason Sanders are on the IR as designated for return. So here you go. That is the list. Let me see if you can read it here. Mm-hmm. 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 All right, there it is. Yeah, Mohamed Kamara got cut. Grayson Murphy got cut, which was a surprise to a bunch of people. So Cam Smith made the team. Cam Smith made the team, and Kendall Sheffield got waived. So that's a corner that got waived. The Dolphins cut Tindall and Rucci and Matos. I'm sure that Darren Waller's Instagram post saying you too busy worrying about time, my boy, be patient. I'm sure that's going to go over swimmingly with the Dolphins fans who are very well known for their patience and understanding. All right, so you got a few more minutes before I sign off. How how does everybody feel about this list of releases and cuts? I guess more importantly, it means the Dolphins' 53-man roster is now all but finalized. I wonder which of these waves and or cuts was made in preparation for potentially another corner signing, or maybe an a backup offensive lineman signing. Let's see. All right, so there you have it. Those are the roster lists. Those are the roster moves. So Isaiah Johnson, and Ethan Bonner both made the roster. Kendall Sheffield was waived. The team still hasn't officially added Rasul Douglas. So yeah, there you have it. Those are all the cuts. Those are all the waves, and it is a real cinema says. I just hope Rasul isn't a sleeper agent like Poyer. Yeah, hopefully it's not Jordan Poyer 2.0. Fan base could take much more of that. That's the real big news, is the Dolphins finally signing someone qualified to be the most experienced corner in the room. So yeah, there you have it. The Dolphins have made all the necessary cuts to get to the 53-man roster, and they signed Rasul Douglas, and it appears that Riley Patterson is the most likely candidate out of the veteran kickers who were practiced today at the facility. It looks like Riley Patterson might be our choice for the first 4 to 5 weeks of the season. Okay, I am going to go ahead and sign off now. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. And yeah, football is so close. So close. See you next time. Thank you for joining me.